That is live. Dina, take it away.
Good morning. Good morning. I am very privileged to be hosting this morning's TEAcast. TEAcast is the podcast that shares and talks about TEACON. TEACON being the East African Conference that engulfs all the Toastmasters within District 114. My name is Dina Owundo, and I'm the president of Exceed Toastmasters Club, which is in Division F. This is in Uganda. I'm very privileged to be hosting this TEAcast, like I mentioned, and we're just going to have the overview of how the TEAcast is going to run this morning. We have a number of presidents joining us in from Uganda, who you'll be meeting in just a minute, and we're just going to share about the Ugandan side, our experience before, but also our expectations, mainly the expectations that we have for this year's TEACON 2024. Just a brief TEACON, I know many of the podcasts before have been highlighting and explaining in detail what TEACON is. TEACON is the East African Conference, and it's going to be hosted in Mombasa this year, 2024, and it will run from the 9th to the 11th of May at Pride in Mombasa. We're all looking forward to this. And just in case you haven't gotten your ticket, after this podcast, I'm very sure you will have considered that. I'll just love to introduce the rest of the presidents who are on call this morning. I've introduced myself, Dina Wunda from Exceed Toastmasters Club. I'll now hand to Arnold. Arnold, can you introduce yourself?
Thank you, Dina. Good morning, Toastmasters and our listening colleagues. My name is Arnold Ahereza. I am the president of Kampala Toastmasters Club, and we call that the warmest club in town. So I'm glad to be here to share about this upcoming conference, which we are all excited about. So please prepare your questions and let's go over this TEACON and see how best we can prepare for it. Glad to be here. Thank you, Dina. Over to you.
Thank you, Arnold. Yes, the warmest club in town, and they're all looking forward to TEACON. Dorothy?
Good morning, President Dina, President Arnold, all the Toastmasters joining us this morning to talk about TEACON, and Ugandan in particular joining this amazing conference. I am Dorothy Okoboy, President of Bogota Toastmasters. I know Arnold claims to be the warmest club. Kampala Toastmasters claims to be the warmest club. But okay, we'll take being the funnest club in Uganda. Back to you, President Dina.
Thank you, Dorothy. Thank you, Arnold. The warmest club, the funnest club. I do not know what to say about Exceed, the most exceptional club. Yes. So I just want to, we're going to have an interaction and share about different things. Our expectations of TEACON, expectations. I'll just share one of mine. I've not been to TEACON before, and I just had what in Uganda we call FOMO. FOMO is fear of missing out. Every time something happens and someone does not attend, in Uganda we say someone has FOMO. Now, last year, when the Ugandans went to Dar es Salaam, they shared so many pictures, videos, chats. There was just so much FOMO created, and I had FOMO. I just said at that point, I made the decision to come for TEACON this year. So because of the FOMO and many other reasons, I am looking very, very forward to this TEACON. So that was my first expectation. I'll just take it round to see our expectations, and then we can go further into this. Dorothy, what's the vibe in Bukoto in the funnest club? What does the funnest club have? What talk about TEACON?
Well, as you may know, Bukoto was fairly well represented in TEACON last year in Dar es Salaam, but unfortunately, I didn't get to go. Dina, I almost cried every time I would look at those pictures, every time when I listened to the speeches and saw the caliber of contestants there, my God, I really wanted to be present. So I decided that this year Mombasa has to see me. And luckily, yeah, we have like about 5 people who have confirmed from Bokoto who are definitely going to Mombasa this year. What am I looking forward to? Meeting all these amazing Toastmasters from around the world. Learning, because we never stop learning, especially when you're more than 3 people in a room. There is always something that you're going to learn. And of course, as usual, I'm looking forward to having fun. Mombasa is like my second home. I love it, love it, love it. So I know I will not be disappointed. Oh, and the seafood. Did I tell you about the seafood? I can't wait.
Interesting. The seafood. I've tasted that before. I
Yeah.
love adventuring and with food. I also find the juice, what do they call it? I think it's coconut juice, which is all put with a straw and a coconut and all that salty kind of like sweet juice.
Yeah.
I look forward to that every time I go to the sea or the ocean. Yes. Booklet of 5 people so far and plus that is very awesome. I can only imagine how you felt last year. I felt almost like me. And now this year, 5, I'm sure you're going to even increase the numbers to 8 and 10 and the like. That's very nice. Arnold, 30 what do the warm people feel like and what are they saying? What are their expectations?
Thank you. Like you said, it's the warmth, it's the fun. The few colleagues that I've talked to who are looking forward to this trip, it's the opportunity of the road trip, the opportunity to get away and just enjoy the social aspect to Toastmasters. The competition this year, so last year we had our area director was competing and went all the way. And Dina, to your point, for those of us who did not travel, the FOMO was so high. We could only relate with the stories. So I know that a good number of our colleagues would now want to go out there and get to experience this, the social interaction, the growth, and the opportunity to be a part of those speeches at a different level. See how our colleagues in the region do it. That seems to be the main driving force behind this, and we are looking forward to it. Thank you, Dina.
Thanks, Arnold. You mentioned something about the contest. The Division F contest was just a few days ago on Saturday, and it was tense. I felt the tension. Like every time somebody got up to stand on the stage and say something, I felt the tension myself. I felt sorry for the judges because it was stiff. Competition was very stiff. Just to highlight that, I know your area director went through almost to the top, and it was exciting to watch her when we stayed back home. This time we have a representation from Kampala Sunrise, who took on who won 2 areas, I mean, in 2 categories. That's Angela Sereko. She won in the international speech contest and the evaluation contest. And then we have Dawudi Mugabe from Bukoto, the fan club, who won in the table topics. And finally, Connie Shemerere from Barara, who won in the humorous contest category. I just want to mention something about these. They are very excited. They're excited to come. Some of them even paid before with hope and faith, knowing I am going to go and compete at that stage. So I loved that enthusiasm. I loved seeing them register and get excited about this. About the contest, I'm also looking forward. People say Kenyans have fire. I don't know what better way to explain, but yes, the fire that they have. Ugandans are coming with fire this time. You better brace yourselves because that contest was very late. It was very tense. I'm excited to watch the contest as well to see how professionals to get up into that stage and speak, because even those who don't get first place or second place do so well. And for everybody within the region goes how they speak, the experience they've gone through as they share and walk us through their journeys, because at the end of the day, all of us are here to grow, and we grow by doing, by learning from each other, by seeing the mistakes that people have made and learning from them as well. And that is something I thought I would also echo. President Dorothy, you are a contest chair on the other side of the contest. How did you find that? And does that
Yes.
tickle you a bit? Yes, Dorothy.
Well, I tell you what, I've been part of many contests in the region because the contests are online. I've either been a timer or taken on a role, one or the other. And I can assure you, Dina, everybody's bringing their A game. That's a fact. I've seen it and I know. As for me being contest chair, it was a very exciting time and a sign of growth for me in Toastmasters. I keep telling people when the newcomers who kept seeing me do my thing kept saying, "But Dorothy, you're so good at this." And I told them, listen, 3 years ago, there was no way you could have made me contest chair and I would have led and even be a bit humorous as a contest chair, as somebody who stood and spoke in front of, I don't know, 200 people that we had. 3 years ago, you wouldn't have gotten me to do that for all the money in the world. So, this is to say, guys, Toastmaster does work. And it was great fun being contest chair. And of course, having one of our own from Bukoto take the first place in table topics. And Connie, DTM Connie Shemerire, who took first place in humorous, was of course one of the founding members of Bukoto. So I feel Bukoto is still shining. We're still bringing our A game as well. Even though she's Mara now, she will always be Bukoto. So guys, take note.
Yes, yes, that's quite exciting to hear. I was chief judge at this contest, and I did not want to be chief judge. Almost everybody that was contesting was my friend, and I kept thinking I did not want to see the results because it's always going to be nice or not nice. But I know this growth that you talk about, it is so real. Even 6 months ago, I do not think I would have pulled off that role, but being thrown
Yeah.
there and being able to take on the challenge, to just get out there and expose myself, try to learn what exactly is entailed in this role has been quite good. It was quite something I can highlight about this role that we just took on Saturday. And well done. I enjoyed watching you do your thing, Dorothy. It's just a
Thank
natural. I do
you.
not know why you joined Toastmasters late, because you're a natural Toastmaster. Yeah, I know. For you, I'll now take you to another side of this. Ugandans usually love to party. Now, we talked about the FOMO and the excitement that people have leading up to the TEACON. And something was mentioned in our chat yesterday that U is Uganda in the word fun. What do you have to say about this?
I couldn't agree more with that. It's totally on point. In fact, just this morning on a different call, we're sharing with some of our colleagues in the region, and they were mentioning how last year, as soon as the Ugandan team arrived at the TEACON, the setting was just different. And I think that comes with the fact that you have traveled out of your way. If I'm going to travel and commit not only the money and the time, but that distance, cover that distance, it had better be worth it. And I think also the beauty of being in a new society, new environment, new setting, you just want to take it all in. You want to experience, yes, the day session, but also the nightlife. So I couldn't agree more with that. Mombasa seems to be the perfect destination for the you in the fun. So watch out. The team that is traveling, I know that they will bring the fun with them. So we are looking forward to it, and let's enjoy it. Let's enjoy it. Thank you.
And you mentioned about that presence that the Ugandans brought. We came with our own vibe, as we call it, and which was
Right.
taken throughout Dar es Salaam. And Ugandans love to take pictures. We love to take pictures. We have to record it because we have the notion that if it doesn't get recorded, it wasn't done. It just never happened. So even if you're going to eat a meal, you may want to take that picture because you want to go back home and tell somebody that I had seafood for the first time. I saw a crab. I saw all these things that we don't have in our country. So that is why we love to take pictures. We want to share the moment, have memories very many months down the road and say, I did this, I saw the sea, I saw the ocean. Because being landlocked in Uganda, we just have the lakes. So when we see the ocean, we just have to take those pictures. And also, we don't have any actual white sand beach in Uganda. So the thought of we're going to the beach, we're going to do this, we're going to enjoy this, we will definitely take those pictures. I want to delve into another area to do with transport. Many of the Ugandans have talked about this. How are we going to get there? How are we going to leave Kampala, Entebbe, Barara, and get to Mombasa? A number of options have been shared, which I can highlight, but I'll open it up to us as well, in case there's some options that we may have that could guide those who have logged into the call or who will be listening in. I know there are people that are planning to go by road. This will be exciting, a road trip. I know the road trip from Uganda to Nairobi itself is 12 hours. So the options we have, some people may want to drive. And so when you need to drive, you please plan to have your car fueled. I think one full or two full tanks to be able to drive from Kampala to Nairobi for 12 hours. That's just Nairobi. Now the options of road. There's a road trip that you could drive from Kampala to Nairobi and then Nairobi to Mombasa, which is about 5 hours. However, there's also an option to use bus. There are a number of bus companies that we have in Uganda, like Mash Power, which also works together with Mash Cool. I think there are others, maybe the team will mention, but there are a number of bus companies that also take about 10 to 12 hours to Nairobi. And then the SGR, Standard Gauge Railway Train. We do not have such a class of train in Uganda. So many of us are looking forward to having the bus ride or the drive to Nairobi, and then from Nairobi to Mombasa using the train, the SGR. So I'd like to just talk about the road option first, exhaust this, then I will talk about the other options. I think Buscar is another bus that does this trip. So Dorothy, anything to say about the road options?
Did I? It's been some time since I last traveled by road. Being in the travel and tourism industry, I tend to get fairly good deals, by flight. But one thing I can tell you about road trips is that they're always fun. Not only are they fun, you get to learn a lot about the country you're visiting, the host country. So coming from here, if the drive is too long, you have Eldoret to stop at, you have Nakuru where you can stop before you proceed to Nairobi, and that just gives you a chance of seeing another country. These are our neighbors, but I know many people who are going by road haven't had a chance to actually visit Kenya, like some of us, the older generation, where Kenya used to be, I don't know, it used to be like our backyard. We'll go there for weekends. So I think if you're going to travel, make it worth your while. Stop at different towns and cities. Feel the vibe of that city. Learn the culture from that city because as you know, if you go from here to Kisumu, you will find a different language, different culture, different food, different people. You go, by the time you get to Nakuru, different feel, weather, scenery. So I think we should take advantage of that and really stop at as many towns as we can for an overnight, if possible. I mean, this should be like your annual leave. Go and have fun. Road trips are always fun. I love road trips.
Arnold, anything you had to add about the road option?
Yes, thank you, Dina. I have not had the opportunity to travel by road between Kampala and Nairobi, but I can imagine 12, 14 hours on the road with the right company, a good bunch of friends.
Yeah.
It, it must be fun. It must be worthwhile. So I can only imagine just that experience. The time is good. You're all in a relaxed mood, and the theme is one. It's just one group that is looking forward and that has been brought together by Toastmasters, by the contest. So I can only imagine the fun and the vibe on that ride. So while I haven't been a part of this experience, in my mind, given that setting, it must be a worthwhile experience. That's really what I can add. And then maybe the fact that it's 12, 14 hours of travel. That is enough time to bond, to get to know someone, to relax. Yes, to have fun. Thank you.
But
When
Arnold, I
yeah,
can't believe. Sorry, President Dina. I still can't believe that Arnold is not coming. Arnold, how can you not be coming? I mean, you are the you in the fun as well. Let's face it, wherever you are, the space lights up and everybody. So I really, how can we convince you to rethink this?
No, good point. It's actually a family commitment. I have a family engagement, an extended family thing that we had already set up, which I'm struggling to get out of. And there is something that I always do with my wife. We usually we committed to travel, and this is something that we had planned. So I would either have to travel with my wife and the kids, which is not going to be possible for now, or I would have to go and join the family to do that. So we are balancing this, but for now, my priority, I'm leaning more towards the family engagement. Should that change, then I'll definitely travel with my wife.
President Dorothy, I love that you brought
Fantastic.
that in. Yeah, I love that you brought that in because I was just about to say he should just move the usual family trip to Mombasa. And because it would even be the more the merrier,
Yeah,
to be fun to have your wife on
yeah.
board. We've met her before. She's come to KTM. It would be beautiful to have her on board. So yeah, we are going to keep encouraging and poking
Mm.
and persuading in the next few weeks. Yes, back to something about the transport. I just
Dina,
wondering
will
if you
you be
meant
with your family?
I am most likely I'll come by myself. I do a trip by myself once a year, and then a trip with the family as well. So this is going to be my one. Yeah, going to be my one. Yes. Dorothy, would you be coming with your family,
Okay.
your exciting family? Met them speak a number of times.
I am trying to convince them. I would really love, I think for the first time in a while, we will be all home at the same time. The children who have finished S6, those in S6, those going to S6, my husband, I think for the first time we'll all be home together. So I'm hoping that these pockets of ours that are not so deep will allow us to come as a family. Otherwise, I'll be alone. If I can't come with somebody, then if I can't come with them all, I'll come alone. But my intention is to come as a family and really, really enjoy Mombasa once again.
Awesome. Speaking of which, I need to
Yeah.
highlight and re-echo that this TEACON is not just about Toastmasters. It's very open to all non-Toastmasters because this just might be your opportunity to get hooked into what somebody likes to call as an organization, your vent, your place of solace, your place of fun. It just might be your opportunity. So our families are very welcome. Our friends, talk to your friends about this because if you can't come with your family, you can come with your friend, expose them to the beach and to all these wonderful
Yeah.
people who they can share and grow with. Yes. I know we mentioned about the road option. When I was little, I used to do Nairobi a lot, just like Dorothy mentioned. You just go for the weekend, and I have lots of family on the other side of the border because I come from the border. So part of us on the Ugandan side, part of us on the Kenyan side. So these trips were very, very frequent, and it just feels like I'm going home. And so I enjoyed the road options at the time. And now I will get to the flight options. But just before I leave the road options, I encourage us to make timely bookings, especially for the SGR, because the last time I used it, I was told we had to book about 9 days in advance. But we have a contact person that will share his contact so that he can help us make those decisions early enough and ensure that we do not miss that connection. Now, about the flight options, we have Uganda Airlines, we have Kenya, KQ. I think those two so far, and then there's one of the jets, Afrojets, that does this trip as well. So these options are there, but I encourage us to book as soon as possible to avoid us getting out of time and missing out on good deals. And when the more the numbers, the more the discounts that we can be able to attain. We have one of our Ugandans helping out with the Uganda Airlines, and that is Paul Mwanga. We've shared his contact with most of the Ugandans, and I believe that with the other airlines, we'll be able to get good deals and good timings. Dorothy, you also mentioned about making this a journey of a week. TEACON starts on 9th, which is a Thursday, but we can consider going on Wednesday, Tuesday, or even Monday. Just make it a week, take the time off work, go back home on Sunday, and you'll be refreshed to get back to the office on Monday. A week. I don't know if anyone wants to highlight anything on that, but it's a
Yeah.
very beautiful one.
It's a great opportunity, Dina. I mean, we've all had the half of the year, almost half of the year has come with a bang. We've had so many things to do. We've had the conference our division F conference to organize, most of us. We've had club competitions to organize. I think it's time we kind of let down our hair, don't you think? And May is a perfect time. In our industry, this is what we call the low season. That means hotels are fairly well priced. If you get there and you can negotiate some really good deals with even the high end hotels. Once you're there, we do the TEACON in Mombasa. I mean, yes, in Mombasa, and then you can drive and cross to Malindi and really treat yourself there as well. So there are endless options when it comes to this, not just the event, the Toastmaster event itself or alone, but there is so much we can add on to make our travel worthwhile. And the other thing you must remember, Dina, I think Dar, incidentally, was less familiar to Ugandans than Mombasa is. So chances of being able to convince many more Ugandans to join us on this TEACON, Mombasa TEACON, will be much easier, don't you think? Because many more Ugandans are really familiar with Kenya and Mombasa in specifically. What do you think?
Yeah, I think so too. I've been to Dar just once, and I remember the build up to the last TEACON. Most times you talk to somebody about Dar and they seemed less familiar, though I thought it was an opportunity for people to get to know the unfamiliar territory. There was a certain excitement that just hit most people. They believe Mombasa is something they've heard more about, but also many people have been there. Some Ugandans have been there and they have no problem going back. I have no problem going back. So I believe many will be convinced about this. It would be also nice to, you had mentioned something about accommodation and crossing over to Malindi, Diani. There's so many beautiful beaches. So the more time that we allot to this activity would be exciting for us. So we need to make use of our money, eat our money, have value for
Yeah.
our money. Let it get finished. Pay for it and let it get finished, like we like to say. You had
Yes, I'm
hinted
sure
to
many people will.
yes,
Yeah,
please,
go
Sister
ahead.
Dorothy. No, go ahead.
No, I was just saying we're very good at finishing our money. We're very good at that. So I will not be surprised when some people are calling back home and saying, "Man, my money ran out. Do you think you can send me some?" You know how it goes.
Yes, yes, I do. You had hinted on accommodation. We have accommodation options that we've heard about, but that we're also looking into. I know Pride Inn is where the conference is, and they might be running out of accommodation as of now. But there are a number of Airbnb options, other hotel options. Somebody might want to stay with a friend, and Dorothy had offered to look into this accommodation because this is her niche. I know a number of people would also love Airbnb options because one, it seems to be cheaper, but you can pull together, get a house together, get a room together with a friend and cost share. But I would not want to dilute this for you, Dorothy. Do you want to mention something about accommodation that you were looking into?
Well, Dina, it's not that. By the way, we can't see you. I don't know what's happening with your video. Have you switched it off?
No, I haven't. Oh,
We can only. Okay, we can't see you, or at least I
No,
can't. I don't know. Arnold, can you see her?
yes, I can. I can see you,
Oh,
Dina. Yes.
okay.
So it may
Maybe
be the
it's on my
settings on your
side,
side, Dorothy. Yeah.
possibly. I don't know what's happening. Right. What was I saying? Yes, Dina. Now, incidentally, before we came on, I was talking to Candy, and we were talking about accommodation. So, and she's another person who is able to provide us with proper contacts as well, and recommend places where she has been. So there's a lot of accommodation options available out there, and have asked Candy to please share the information with us on our group, and then we will send it out. But so far, we have accommodation that ranges from $150 for a three-bedroomed house to apartments of about $100 with two bedrooms, which in effect means four people can actually share these apartments and these rooms. So the options are truly endless. What I did recommend, and what I would still recommend, is that try and remain as close to the conference venue as possible. One, it will be cheaper for you in terms of transport. Two, you are all in one area. So if you have any problem, it's very easy for the conveners to solve, for your country mates to solve, and your colleagues. So try and remain as close to the conference area as possible. And that's what I'm going to offer. And that's what Candy's offering as well. And yeah, we all budgets can be accommodated. All budgets can be accommodated. So let's remember that. And also let's remember, don't go too cheap, because going too cheap tends to become extremely expensive at the end of the day. Back to you, Dina.
I liked that advice. Don't go too cheap. Many times you want to save, but you end up spending. And you also want to have a beautiful time. So you do not want to be on the lower margin. Yeah, so I like that advice and also the options. We keep sharing options with people in our team. Any Ugandan that is planning to go or very interested in going, please do not hesitate to reach out to myself, Dorothy, Arnold, and anybody else because we want to make it easy for each other. You don't want to go and feel like you're on an island. You need to reach out and we'll also share as much as we have. If you have any information, you have good deals, good rates, please share this with us as well so that we can make the most out of our time. And now, there's something else I look forward to, accents. People say Ugandans have an accent. I usually don't see this because I am Ugandan, but Kenyans have an accent. Tanzanians have a very interesting accent. We have Burundians, we have Ethiopians,
Aloysius.
Dorothy, could you kindly mute your mic? And we recently have Djibouti. The mix of these accents is something that I am looking forward to. I tend to find it exciting to learn how to pronounce words in different ways. For example, in Uganda, we say bottle for the word Bottle, bottle. Kenyans will say bottle. Tanzanians, I'm not sure. I'm looking forward to learning how that is pronounced, and many other such words. When we say bottle, Kenyans find it very, very amusing. So this is something that I'm looking forward to. Arnold, is there anything you'd want to talk about this interculture and the mix?
Yes, sure. That's an excellent point, Dina. I had an opportunity to work out of Uganda, and I was on this small island for over 10 years. And while there, it was so diverse. It had people from all walks of life. And so, to your point of accents, it's actually these differences that bring out the best out of people. When we can get to the point where we celebrate these differences, but also they help us to define our identity, to realize that what I thought was the gospel truth is actually not that. Just because I call it bottle doesn't mean it's actually bottle. The whole point is, can I still communicate regardless of how I pronounce it? Yes. So, and that I can relate. Even within the region, I know every country, every district is going to have a different accent. But it's those differences again that bring us together to get into a room and find that there are different people from all walks of life, different accents, different food tastes, different idea and definition of fun, but you still find a common ground. And that is Toastmasters. You still find the common ground. That is humanity and the idea that you're all out there to relax, enjoy each other's company, and have fun. So while those accents are there, I truly believe they go a long way into bringing out the best out of us in humanity, in getting along, and embracing these differences. The one area I can tell you that we will be tested as Ugandans is food, because not everyone is going to be open to seafood. I remember my first experience of a display of a seafood buffet. I held my plate, I walked around, did circles like 6 times, and I couldn't find something appropriate to put on my plate because everything on display was foreign to me. I expected to see dry meat. All the meats that were there, I'll call them meats, were not dry. They didn't seem cooked. They smelled funny. They looked funny. But with time, once you put it in the mouth, then you get to appreciate the taste. You get to overcome these so-called barriers. So I'm looking forward to these differences, and they will be many. Accents, food tastes, there will be many, but I think it will be a great opportunity to embrace and thrive in these differences. Thank you.
When you mentioned food, I remembered every time I travel with people, they wonder why I'm very open to testing foods. I test anything and everything. And yet, funny enough, I have a sensitive tummy, but I just love exploring because I can imagine when's the next time I'm going to find a crab or a snake or a slug. It will taste funny. It will go out at some point, but I remember that I tasted and I got to taste it. So I know what you mean by that. Dorothy, we were talking about accents, and when someone listens to Dorothy speak, you can't even place which part of the world she comes from because I feel like Uganda, Kenya, is it West Africa? When she throws in a little French, Dorothy, tell us about your expectations in these accents, this TEACON.
Well, let me tell you, Dina, as you may know, I'm a bit of I've been claimed by Kenyans, I've been claimed by Rwandans, I've been claimed by a certain part of Tanzania. And then, of course, I had the pleasure of living in West Africa. So I have all these accents wrapped under my arm. I don't know. It's always very interesting the first time you land in any country that is not yours and you hear how people speak, you see how people dress. Very subtle but very noticeable differences. The minute you land in Kenya, you realize, oh my gosh, we're in Kenya, we're Africans, we're East Africans, but we all have our subtle differences. The color, the skin texture, the accent, yes, indeed, as what? As well as the food. I'm looking forward to everything. I love the melting pot of what East Africa can be, honestly. So I'm really looking forward to it, Dina.
Nice, nice. I'd want to delve into the weather. Ugandan weather ranges between 18 degrees to say 28 on a really hot day on average. Now, Mombasa, I think, starts from our 28 upper estimate, going towards 37 and the like. This is going to be really hot and humid. I need Ugandans to expect this. Do not come with your jumpers. Well, you could come for sure, but don't expect to wear your sweaters and all. Let's park right because it's going to be hot. It's going to be humid. Expect to maybe carry a tiny fan or a tiny something to just keep you fine during this time. Plan to be hydrated because in a hot, humid area, you may get dehydrated quite fast, especially that you're going to be very active, moving around, exploring, being in that sun, you may get dehydrated. So you need to plan to drink a lot. For the dress code, keep it light, keep it beachy. I know we have, okay, beach to mean B-E-A-C-H at the beach. We will have a dinner. So we need to pack right for the dinners, pack right for the actual event, which dress code will be shared, but I believe it should be something smart formal or smart casual. But I just want us to remember to pack light and to pack right. Would you want to add something to this, Dorothy?
Yes, let's not forget cultural. Let's not forget what Mombasa is. Mombasa is predominantly an Islamic town with a lot of Muslims. And so let's remember, let's be respectful. Girls and women should, let's put the skimpy aside until you get to the beach. But if you're going to walk in town, when you're taking the tours of, let's say, Fort Jesus and so on and so forth, please keep it decent. You don't have to be, you don't have to dress skimpily to fit in. No, you don't have to dress skimpily to be cool. You can wear a long, cool dress. Let's just remember that. Let's respect where our hosts are and who they are and what their cultures are. And then You can wear your skimpy at the beach when you're there. I think that's something that people tend to forget. We forget who the hosts are, and it can be very embarrassing for everybody.
That was a very, very key
Spoken
point.
like a mom, huh?
I was going to say that. That's exactly what my mom would say. But you're very right. Most times when people know they're going to an area where there's a beach, you just think, let me just reduce all the fabric, reduce the fabric. And when we forget to be respectful, so I'm really glad that you highlighted this, Dorothy. Let's remember to be respectful so we don't come off like outliers. And as much as we're guests, we need to be conversant and cognizant of that. Arnold, most times when we talk about dress code, we think it's about the ladies. The ladies want to think of what top to wear. What about the gents? What do you have to say?
Thank you, Dina. My point, I think I would just want to build on what you said. Park light, park right. And I think it's the second part for me, park right. Earlier you mentioned that we will be looking forward to taking photos and sharing these and creating these memories. So it's important that we address right, depending on the different settings and functions that will be going on. I recall the day I showed up in my very new pair of jeans for a dinner, which for some reason I had missed the memo. It was a black tie event. I showed up with very neat and very nice jeans, but I was extremely uncomfortable the whole night. I didn't enjoy it. So that's the one point that I would want to highlight. A challenge, I think, for the organizers is to get out the program in good time and maybe spotlight these specific elements of the program. If there is a dinner, if there is a culture evening, there are those elements of the program that are well known. If I'm going to the beach, I'll have to pack beachwear. But what are those specific elements on the program that we may want to ensure that people pack right and dress right for? I would want to highlight on those. And I know that us as gentlemen, we usually focus on packing light. I'll pack whatever I can get away with. If it means 2 pairs of pants and 4 t-shirts, that is fine. But then if along the way there is supposed to be a dinner and there is a different dress code, it would be good to highlight those events so that as we take the photos and create these memories together, then we do not have outliers. And that's what I would, that's what my comment would be on the dress code.
Thank you. Thanks, Arnold. That's quite key. Something I need to add as well is about the tiny things which we may forget to pack. This is not just for the Ugandans, but these tiny little things like sunscreens. I know most times we think sunscreens are for white people because of the sunburns and all, but even not Ugandans, even Africans, our skins, if not very accustomed to the heat and the sun, we may need sunscreen to keep our skins very fine and lubricated and moist. Even the gentlemen, not just Vaseline or shower and go out. Your sunscreens, then first aid. First aid is key. Most times we try to look for a pharmacy or what they call chemists in Kenya, and it may not be very reachable depending on where you're staying. And to avoid the inconvenience, you may want to consider basic first aid like painkillers, something for the colds, lozenges, flagyl, charcoal, and personal effects just to avoid having to rush to buy things last minute and get inconvenienced. Also consider exchanging your money before you leave your host country, your home country. You're going to be using Kenya shillings, so then the rate to Uganda shillings are between 30 to 35 shillings for every one Kenya shilling. And for US dollars, just in case you need to pay for your accommodation in dollars, the range is currently between 3,800 to 3,900 Uganda shillings for every $1. So I'd encourage us to make these exchanges before you travel, effects before you travel to avoid these inconveniences. Now, just quickly, I would want to open. Yes, Dorothy. Yes, Dorothy.
Can I add on to the money issue, President Dina? Unlike Kenya, Uganda, we use a lot of dollars. It's quite easy for somebody to say, "Oh, how much is that in dollars?" And we'll automatically, we quickly catch up. But Kenya is actually quite Kenya shillings based. So sometimes you go with your dollars and it's harder for you to use dollars in Kenya than it is here in Uganda. So yes, go with your Kenya shillings ready. And that will save you a lot of trouble.
Thank you, Dorothy. Thank you, Dorothy. And we have lots of places where you can change money, so this would be good to think about. Anna, do you want to say something about that?
Thanks.
Okay. Love to then say one or two things that you could have left out, like pointers or any closing remarks before I open it up to the chat in case we have any questions, and so that we start winding down our session. We'll start with Arnold. Anything you could have wanted to share that I could have left out? And then, yes.
Yes, thank you, President Dina. Looking through my list, you've done an excellent job, and I believe we have really covered it all. Maybe the key points which we've already touched on, but I wanted to maybe revisit, is the opportunity with regard to accommodation and sharing costs. I think that will be a key point for those of our colleagues who are considering to travel. It may be a good thing to express the interest, make the bookings early, so that if there are opportunities to cost share, then we exploit those in good time. And that can go a long way, ensuring that for all aspects, whether it's on the road travels or even the accommodation, the earlier we do that, the much better it will be, especially if you're open to the Airbnb option. I think that's the one point I wanted to emphasize. But then also the SGR travels and any bookings that may need to be made in time. It's those small things from a logistics perspective that may make a difference. And speaking for myself, I know that some of us are very good at working under pressure. So we will wait to do these things at last minute. But in this instance, I would challenge us that if we can use the benefit of time and early planning, it will go a long way in helping with the logistics. Yes, over to you, Dorothy, if you have something else to add. Thank you.
Well, the one thing I can recommend is pack your sense of adventure. Do not leave it behind. Pack your sense of adventure. Pack your sense of tolerance, because you will come across different cultures, different people, different way of doing things. Please go with an open mind and a willingness to have fun and to learn new things. So those are the things I can recommend not leaving behind, Dina.
Thank you. Thanks, Arnold and Dorothy. I remember you, Arnold, mentioning many of us think, well, okay, we work under pressure, well, last minute, and you die chi officer, as they say it in Uganda, because you end up missing out on tiny little details which could have been fixed early enough. So let's begin, because we all have support. We have help all over the place, both in country and out of country, and it can be fixed. Let's just do this and pack your sense of adventure. I'm looking forward, having an open mind, expecting the best, but if anything happens, making the best also each and every opportunity and occurrence. I'm ready to go all out. I just now want to confirm if we have any question in the chat that may need to be answered. If we have any club that qualifies for a discount by the numbers that have logged in. Okay, we do not have any of that. We just have a few minutes before we end this. A number of contacts have been shared for the TEACON participants, but we'll also share this on different social media platforms. For the Ugandan side, there's Dorothy, myself, Arnold, and any other people that can help out. There's Paul Mwanga helping out with the flights. We'll share this information in due course. And please ask as many questions as you would require. What we can't answer, we'll hand over to Kendi and the team in Mombasa that will help out to bring clarity to anything. But also, in case you have questions, just come with your question. You'll have them answered in Nairobi. It's not that serious. Is it that serious, Dorothy? I don't think it's that serious.
No,
You know,
no, no, no. It's never that serious.
it's never that serious. Yes.
Yeah.
And now just give 1 minute to any of us who wants to use it as an opportunity to market what you do. I, for one, I'm not in marketing, so I'll just say I do accounting, similar to Arnold. I'm into accounts, audit, finance. Now, if you need anything in that area, I am ready to support. That's what I do on my daily audit, finance, and accounts, and I enjoy doing this. I'll go to Arnold, then Dorothy.
Thank you, Dina. Like you said, I am in accounting, audit, finance, tax, only as a consultant. I'm a public accountant, so I'm fully available to support. I know in yesterday's papers there was the 58% payee, and several of our clients reached out panicking and what it may mean for a few of their top level staff. So it's matters like those that we deal with and advise. And perhaps in the economy of today, the focus is going to be on tax planning. How do we make the most out of the tax code as it is written and still comply? So that's the space that I'm in, and I love it. And I would be happy to support any of our listening audience. Thank you. Dorothy?
Well, I'm in the fun industry, the tourism industry. This is what I do for life. I travel, I organize for people to travel, I organize for fun in a safe and affordable manner. But my husband and I also have an IT company, and we do a lot of programming. If you yeah, a lot of programming, software programming. So that's my life. And of course, a mother of 4 big kids. Dina, you've met some of the children. Yes, and yeah, that's my life in a nutshell. Travel, IT, parenthood, or should I say it's the other way around? Because parenthood made me what I am today, in a way.
Awesome, awesome. It's nice to have that chance to share what you do, because one of us may need to reach out for help, and you just might get your big deal out of this podcast.
Why not?
We have enjoyed sharing with you, Arnold, and with you, Dorothy. For those who have joined into the chat, I hope we've got more and more insight into TEACON. And with more questions, we're always available to answer these. I am looking forward to TEACON. I've loved being your host this morning. And thank you very much. Have a blessed day, everybody. Blessings.
Thank you. Thank
Thank
you.
you. Thank you so much.
Thank
See you
you.
in
Thank you,
Mombasa.
guys. That was good. Bye.
The recording has stopped.
Hey,
Well done, Dina.
thank you. Thank you, Arnold.
That was excellent. Yes. Is this your first podcast or
Yes,
I
it
know
is my
based
first
on
podcast.